Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Courtney. Today I'm doing a follow-up video to my best ways to use loose eyeshadow. If you haven't watched that video, go ahead and pause this video and click on the link that I'm going to have over here to that video and watch that first, so then you'll have a little bit more of an understanding of what I'm doing. Okay, now that you've watched that, I'm going to go ahead and jump into this tutorial. I'm going to be showing you basically step by step how to go ahead and apply loose eyeshadows for your eyes and your cheeks and your lips. I'm going to start by applying Too Faced Shadow Insurance. This is my favorite eyeshadow primer. I have oily hooded lids, so this is the one that works best for me. I think it actually works best for me because it has talc pretty high up in the ingredients list, or I believe it does last I looked. And I think that most eyeshadow primers that have talc high up work well for me. Ones that don't work for me at all. I get creasing and fading. So there are a lot of great eyeshadow primers out there that just don't work for my eyes. There are a lot of indie primers that I've tried, and most of them just horribly disappoint me because of they crease and fade to nothing on me, which sucks. My dogs Phyrra and Nyx are in the background behind us. Now after I apply my eyeshadow primer, I like to set it. I'm going to set it with Milani's Prep Set Go powder. It's just a translucent setting powder, and I really like to use a big fluffy brush, tap off the excess, and then swirl it over my eye in a circular motion. This basically makes sure that the eyeshadow primer is completely dry so that when I go in with eyeshadow, it doesn't stick to any spot and have like any weird wet, tacky looking eyeshadow. And this just makes it easier to blend later. You can also use a base shade that means an eyeshadow that's the color of your skin tone. Now because of my eye shape, I tend to use a wide variety of fluffy brushes to sort of diffuse the color because I feel like that's more flattering on my hooded eyes. You may choose not to do that, but this is just how I will apply it. I'm going to start by applying Aromaleigh Nyx. Yes, the same name as my dog because they're both named after the goddess of the night. And this is a really cool sort of smoky purple color. So what I'm going to do is dip my brush in. I tap off the excess basically in the lid. I tap it off once more with my finger, and then I start building this color up on the hood of my eye because I'm going to create basically a rounded smoky dome type shape. And I dip my brush back in, tap off the excess, and then continue to go at it. I'm using a Sigma E25 brush. You can also use the Urban Decay Iconic brush or the Real Techniques base brush. Basically just something that's kind of fluffy and you have control over. So as you can see, applying a loose eyeshadow with a brush dry is very similar to how you would apply it with a pressed eyeshadow. The real key is so that you don't have a lot of fallout is to just tap off the excess. I happen to really love this purple because it has like a very slight sheen, and normally I don't like to put anything that has shimmer on the hood of my eye, but I feel like this actually looks really flattering. A lot of things with shimmer, I don't like how they look on my hood, but this is one of those rarities. I'm just continuously dipping my brush in, tapping off the excess. I'm going to do my lower lid. I'm going to take a clean brush and just kind of diffuse the edges of NYX. I'm still probably going to use a transition color. I'm going to use this color by Aromaleigh called Coventina and use that as a transition shade just at the edges of the color. I'm going to grab another fluffy brush to do that. This is a Sigma E36. I'm just going to tap it into the product, much like the other one. Tap off the excess. And then softly blend at the edge of the color. Okay, now that I have that blended out so I think it looks softer, like a nice gradient, I'm going to use this color, which is Aromaleigh Hel, and it is a black, like charcoal matte, because I know some people had expressed concerns about whether or not you could actually use matte loose eyeshadow. So I'm going to show you. Yes, it works. Again, I'm tapping off the excess. And I'm going to start patting that onto my lid. And see, if you don't tap it off like I just did there, you get fallout on your face. So that's totally my fault because I didn't tap it off. I'm putting this black shade on and bringing it up above my natural crease, since my natural crease is hidden by the hood of my eyes. And it's just gonna kind of blend seamlessly with the purple. And I'm gonna take the flat side and go very close to my lower lash line. Okay, now I'm gonna use Sugarpill Ghosted, which is this lovely shade right here. And I'm gonna use it wet because that's one of the ways I think that eyeshadow looks best. All right, so for this one, I'm gonna use the Kat Von D Glimmer brush, and I'm gonna dip the brush into the product, and then I'm gonna tap off the excess in the lid. And then I'm going to use Urban Decay's All Nighter Spray and spray the brush. And then I'm going to pat this color onto the center of my lid because I want more of like a halo eye with it. And then I'm going back with that flat brush that I used to apply the color Hel and just blend the edges so that it's not like a harsh line. I have to go back with the same brush, but I'm not putting any more product on it. I'm just basically using whatever's left. And now I'm going to take the Sigma E21, which is a very small brush, spritz it with All Nighter, and I'm going to do the center of the lower lid. And I went back over that with a little bit of the dry product so that it would be more intense and sparkly. So if you feel like after you've applied it wet, you still need more sparkle, go back over it with a brush and pat it on dry. Okay, so I've got my brows on. I want to highlight, and I'm going to show you how I highlight. I highlight the same way with the same brush every single time I do it. So I'm going to take Sugarpill Ghosted and dip the tip of the brush in. And I'm going to run this right here at the outer part of my brow. I personally feel like that's the most flattering place that I can highlight on my hooded eyes. And then I dip the big fat part of the brow, the brush into the pop product and pop it at the inner corner. And then use it to blend out. I'm going to put on some foundation, and then I'm going to show you how to do the loose powder on the rest of your face. I'm going to use my Pretty Zombie Ether as my blush, and it's kind of like it's kind of like a mauve color. So I'm going to dip the brush into the product, basically tap off all of the excess into the lid, because there's a whole hell of a lot of excess. And then I'm going to spritz my brush with All Nighter. And I'm going to go 2 fingers width out from my nose and kind of right here and start swirling my brush. And blending it to create my nice little flush of color. I don't ever normally do this, but I know that a couple of you had asked me if I would please do it, so we'll see how it works. I'm basically just repeating the process of spraying the brush after dipping it in product and then trying to blend. And I'm going to use my beauty blender to kind of blend it in with my skin. That color actually looks pretty natural, like a good blush shade on me. If you take your blush too high like I do, don't be afraid to go back with your foundation and blend out the edge. I'm going to do a little teeny tiny bit of contour with Glamour Doll Eyes Skeletina, which is this kind of gray color. And I use this color quite a bit for like blush or contour. And I think it will look nicely with this look. I'm just dipping the brush in, like, and kind of patting it into the lid here where I have a little bit of product. I'm not doing anything really extreme with this. I'm just basically applying it and going back towards my ear. Not really much at all, but that's okay because I wasn't really looking for an extreme result. I just wanted to add a tiny little bit of depth. And I'm actually going to go back over it with the blush brush. Now for my favorite part, I'm going to highlight, and I'm going to highlight with Sugarpill Ghosted, which is the same highlight I used on my eyes. And I'm going to do it dry because I almost always do my highlight dry. Basically, I'm just packing it onto the brush, tapping it off, making the brush hug my cheek. And I'm going to go back with this brush, which is the brush that I used to apply the Laura Geller, and just softly kind of make sure this is all melding together. Lightly buffing it in circles. Oh, I haven't even put on mascara. I need to put on some mascara. I'm sitting here looking at my lashes going, they look really lackluster. Well, they look lackluster because you don't have mascara on. Okay, now that I have mascara on, I'm going to put on a little bit of eyeliner. Oh, I wanted to mention, I have been using Grande Lash MD on my lashes to try to grow them out longer and fuller since I stopped doing lash extensions. I feel like it's working. At least I feel like my lashes look better than they did a month ago. This is the first time I've actually used one of these lash products and I feel like I got results. I've tried several different ones, namely Rodin and Fields, which was really expensive and didn't do anything for me. So it's nice to have one of these products actually seem to be working. I'm gonna put on Urban Decay's Perversion liner on my upper waterline. I'm going to line my lower waterline with Pixi's Extra Eye Brightener. I'm going to put on Kat Von D's Lovecraft Pencil. And then I'm going to put on Melt's Chick Habit lipstick. I feel like this smells a little bit like paint thinner. So my last step that I always like to do is go back over my eyeshadow just to blend once more, just to make sure everything is nice and smooth. And maybe pop a little bit more of the highlight at the inner corner because I feel like when I put on the foundation, it just kind of lost it. And I'm going to set my face all over with all-nighter spray because I'm going out. And that's it. I hope that you feel a little bit more confident now about applying loose eyeshadow as blush or as contour, as highlight, as eyeshadow, using it wet or dry. Please be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked this video and found it fun, entertaining, informative, or helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share. It really does help me out when you share my videos, so I appreciate it. And if you haven't already, you should go ahead and click that little subscribe button so you never miss one of my videos or miss out on my adorable dogs. Although I guess you can really only see Phaedra here. Nyx is over on the other side of me. Anyway, thanks so much for hanging out. Bye!